So the St. Paul's annual budget in total is about $2 million. And if you look at the sources of our income in that budget, about 65% of it comes from pledged income as well as open offerings and checks that people send in. And then the other 35% comes from income off of the endowments that we have. We have blessed to have two significant endowments that one supports our music program. And then we have a number of smaller endowments that range in size from a few $1,000s up to about $400,000. And those typically are, gifts that were given by parishioners over many years, and typically are, have a specific purpose in mind. There are some for the music program, there's some for the grounds and the gardens and choir robes and any number of different items. But in general, in round numbers, about 2/3 of our income is from pledges, and about 1/3 comes from the income off of our endowments. As I said, about 1/3 of our operating budget is funded by income that we get from our endowments. And while there's no perfect number for that, my feeling is that that's a little bit high, that we're starting to rely a little bit too much on endowment income to fund the operations. Now, when somebody leaves a gift and they want the money to go to a certain purpose, then by all means we're going to do that, and we honor all of those gifts in that way. But I'd kind of use the analogy of money that's left for the gardens, or for the areas around the church. There's money that we use to maintain those, but you'd also like to hold some money back to improve those grounds and to provide some nicer spaces. So again, I don't know that I have a perfect number in mind, but when we start to see that 33%, 35% of our operating income is being funded by endowments, to me that's getting a little too high, and we're starting to rely a little bit too much on the endowment income, which I'd like to think that we could hold back a little bit. I think another good example is with the trip that the choir took this past year. And while from our operating from our operating budget, we were able to provide some level of support, that's something that, it would have been nice if we had not relied so much on that endowment income, then we could have provided more support for a special item such as that trip. I think it's really interesting and very encouraging, the type of growth that we've seen in the church. First of all, the number of people, but the number of young families and little kids that are running around. So that's certainly all beneficial. And what I'll talk about a little bit is kind of the business side of it. And the business side of it is the economic reality that unfortunately costs are higher. People costs are higher. We saw that with the transition we've had in the music department. Not only a higher salary is required to kind of keep that same level of music program, but also the additional resources that we bring to the music program are more costly. And certainly as we go to market, if you will, to find a new rector, chances are those costs are going to be higher. So just from the kind of the economic perspective, the business perspective, costs are higher, and that's something that we have to deal with.
Well, really, to Tom's point about growth, my wife Harry and I have been here just right at 4 years. So compared to many members of our parish, we're relatively new. But I can tell you that one of the things that's such a blessing for us, and it's gotten us so involved in the church, is the number of programs, both inside our church walls and outside our church walls. There we have a plethora of programs that you can take advantage of. In addition to that, we've observed ourselves in just 4 years a lot of growth in those areas. So it's very obvious that clearly we're having the growth that we need to have. As far as outside is concerned, we're involved in the Chat Foundation, and we help feed 600-700 people a day, once, twice, three times a month, and that's a really good contribution to this community. Our women's shelter is extremely important, and then other activity within the Met Ministries. And here at the church, there are many programs available, from the Rector's Forum to, I'm involved in the Education for Ministry program, and that's been a real enlightening program and spiritually uplifting. And then we have adult and children's programs that are going on that are really critical for our continued growth, particularly for our young people. And then we have the Thorne Sparkman program, which is just an outstanding program that we have here that is really well attended every single year. So clearly, we are growing, and Father Ed has said more than once that something's afoot here, and he's brought a lot of opportunities for reflection and study and growth, and I think that's helped contribute to really creating some excitement and some real positive energy, if you will. So, but as you point out, Tom, these programs aren't free, and if we're going to meet just the current needs and plus continue to support the growth that we have, we are going to have to think seriously about being more competitive for recruiting people here. Our clergy work very hard, and they need support. So we need to bring support to them. I come to 10:30 service because I love the music, and so we've recruited a very solid person to come and recruit that. But again, that costs money, And no one likes to ask for money, but it's one of those necessary evils, I guess, that we just have to do. But Harriet and I are very, very committed to this church, and our faith in St. Paul's is strong, and for that reason, we've increased our contribution to St. Paul's both this year and next year. And I hope everyone will be able to look at the whole idea of stewardship as something that's really critical for today and for tomorrow.
There's a financial answer to that, and that is, people's donations to the church, their financial donations to the church, help drive the operations, help drive the budget. And as I said earlier, 65% of our income that funds all the operations around here, come from people's financial gifts. But I think for all of us, stewardship is a lot more than just the check that we write.
So to me, stewardship means more than the pledge, but it just means that we are here on Sundays whenever possible, that we get to participate in various ministries, that we bring our children and encourage them to ask questions and wonder. And the beauty of this place is the community and all the people here, whether they're members or not, even if they visit frequently, and we don't pressure them to join, but we look forward to their presence whenever possible. And we do have a lot of ministries to support, and that is a great opportunity, and it means that we need some resources financially to continue to provide those. I think I've reflected, as we've thought about our pledge for this year, I've reflected on some of the questions from the search committee in those small group meetings, and in what is special to us. And every major life event in the past 15 or more years now is at this church. And it's not just the building, it's the people here that are so supportive and wonderful. And just worship at 10:30 on Sundays, it's 1,000 little tiny moments that make up a pretty spectacular place here.